Hello everyone and welcome to Forging Ahead in Art. Today's project I'll be using a woody stemmed plant that grows in the pastures and fields around my place. They work great for miniature dioramas and other projects. Now these plants have some great trunks that work great for trees, but this project I'm going to be using the root system, which can be really gnarly on these plants. Now I've pointed out some of these roots that are kind of small or in a weird spot that I'm just going to cut off and put them aside to possibly use later. At this point, I painted the trunk in a matte Mod Podge because I had not decided if I was going to leave it natural or maybe paint the trunk a different color. Off camera, I had cut the trunk down to make it a more manageable size, and I just used a old pill container with some sand in it to give it some weight so that I could stand it upright. And what I'm doing here is I'm just taking the roots that I had trimmed off and trying to place them and see how they would look in different spots to add some more branches. I know, kind of crazy just to cut them off, just to put them back on. So I went and got a couple more plants that so I could cut off the bigger roots on it and get some bigger branches, because I still wanted more branches on here, but I didn't want them to be tiny. So I decided to use these. Hey, did you see that? Here, let me slow it down for you and show you the moment where one went flinging. After cutting off several root pieces and picking some for what I wanted to use as branches, as I liked their shape or their size, I started drilling holes because I wanted the pieces, the roots, to be part of the tree and not just glued to the surface of it. So I made holes using a small hand drill, which I had to keep switching between bits to get the right size and slowly work my way up. And then I used a combination of wood glue and super glue to glue the branches in. After getting all my branches connected and glued into place, I started working on the foliage. And here I was using something called summer undergrowth, which is kind of just this little weedy looking, sort of like a combination between coral and just this little bushy stuff that I was trying to glue to the branches, as I wanted to give it something more body for the final foliage to be stuck to. And this stuff was really soft and really flexible. In the future, I would not use this. I don't recommend it. It's not firm enough. With the under foliage done, I started working on the outer foliage, but my time lapse stopped with 6 seconds worth of time lapse in. Not sure why. So I didn't get a lot of good footage of putting the foliage on. Here I am using a leftover candle that had a really cool jar to it, and decided to use that as my pot. And here I am just putting some random craft stones that we had sitting around into it to give it some weight and to hold it in place. I cut off a piece of trunk to use as a placeholder for the space for the tree. As you can see, I would just drop some stones in and then just squirted in some hot glue, and just drop in some more stones and more hot glue and just keep working that over and over until I got it filled up. Here I was trying to poke them around, and lesson learned, hot glue's sticky. So I was having trouble getting my stick around the stickiness. So once I got it good and everything done with the stones in there, I put the tree in and held it in place, and it worked perfect. It worked great. Here I am using some sand to fill in the gaps in the bottom because all the stones, there's gaps in there with them. So here I am just filling it in little bit by little bit. Now once I got it all filled in and everything and was happy with the amount in there, I thought, well, maybe it didn't all settle very good. So upon tapping it over and over, I did discover that the sand needed to settle some more. So I settled the sand in and then filled it in some more until it no longer settled. And here I was checking to see how firm the tree was in there. I was actually kind of hoping I could pull it up just a little bit because I wanted just a little bit more tree trunk, but the hot glue had set and the tree was stuck. There was no moving it. So the next step was, now that the tree was definitely stuck and I had the sand filled in, I used a mixture of water and PVA glue or Elmer's glue and just kept squirting that on there and letting it soak in to help hold the sand in place so that it would not move. And with having all of my sand glued down and everything done, as you can see, I have myself a interesting little bonsai tree. I love bonsais. I think they are beautiful, and I've yet to be able to obtain one, but I thought maybe I could make myself a miniature one and start small and one that I can't kill. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for visiting my channel, and see you in the next video.